Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tevaron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week, we are running another ramp deck because, unfortunately, at this time, the meta is ramp. So you either play it or build to beat it. And at this point, I have elected to play it, at least for this episode. I'll go through the deck list quickly here. We are running two Jaddi Offshoots. I'm not running the full three because I just don't want to get overloaded on them. They're really good in the aggro matchup. Running 4 Gatecreeper Vine, 1 Evolutionary Leap, 2 Reave Soul, 2 Rolling Thunder, 1 Nissa of Vastwood Seer, 3 Natural Connection, 2 Radiant Flames, 3 Nissa's Pilgrimage, 2 Languish, 4 Mwonvuli Acid-Moss, 1 Ob Nixilis Reignighted, 1 Woodland Bellower, and I think I missed, we're running 2 Reclaimation Sages as well. I think I missed mentioning that. We're running 1 Obivion Sower, 1 Nissa's Renewal, 2 Gaea's Revenge because the can't be targeted ability is pretty good right now. I had lost a few games to Rakdos Steal and Sack decks where they would take my creatures with a Traitorous Instinct or what have you, and then kill me with them. So Gaea's Revenge sort of prevents that. 1 Omnath, Locus of Rage, and 1 Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Our mana base is 2 Swamps, 2 Mountains, 7 Forests, 1 Smoldering Marsh, 2 Cinder Glade, and those can be fetched with the Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. It'd be nice if we had the off-color battle lands, and at that point I could get a black-green with a Mwonvuli Acid-Moss, but those haven't been printed now. Hopefully they will be in Oath of the Gatewatch. 2 Woodland Cemetery, 2 Rootbound Crag, 2 Rakdos Guildgate, and 4 Evolving Wilds for a total of 24 land. This has been performing fairly well for me. I will put the deck list in the description below just so you have an easier reference if you'd like to look at it. But without further ado, let's get in there. Okay, I would like to have 1 more mana in my hand, but I think this is keepable. We will go Gatecreeper Vine into Nissa's Pilgrimage, and we should be okay from that point. We shall see what transpires. Okay, I like the Evolving Wilds. That's nice. Okay, I will go Gatecreeper Vine. And I do have Rakdos Guildgates in here to get to have access to both red and black mana off the Gatecreeper Vines. But at this point, I'm going to just get a Mountain. That will give us 1 of each color. We still do need a second red for Rolling Thunder and for Omnath, Locus of Rage. But I would really like to be able to cast my Nissa's Pilgrimage next turn. So that's the reason I got the comes into play untapped basic here. We could have gotten the Guildgate and counted on drawing a comes into play untapped land, but that's just no guarantee. And I would love to drop the Jaddi Offshoot here, but it looks like our opponent is possibly playing ramp as well. So we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to ramp as hard as we can go and hope to hit some big threat that can take over this game for us. And pass on back. They could be mono green. Some of the ramp decks that I've seen are mono green, but this looks like it's at least Simic. There's some blue in there. Have run into a few of these decks as well, with the green with kind of a blue splash. Just different builds, it seems, every time. Some mix of counter magic and other things. Alright. I think here I definitely drop the Jaddi Offshoot. And then I will play Evolving Wilds. And I will leave it in case we get Mwonvuli Acid-Moss on our opponent's turn. If they Acid-Moss us, then I will know what I need to fetch with my Evolving Wilds. Either a swamp or a mountain. Alright, there's a From Beyond, so we're not getting Acid-Mossed. So we can go ahead and sack this. And I will get a black mana. It really doesn't matter. We need double black and double red. And we already have double green. We also have double black and double red with the Smoldering Marsh. And there's an Acid-Moss of our own. So we will Acid-Moss the Simic Guildgate. And we will get one of our duels. And then I suppose we'll play a Smoldering Marsh and pass the turn. Hopefully we can get something going before this From Beyond gets out of hand. That thing has the potential to kill us on its own if we don't deal with it. I mean, I can Reclamation Sage it next turn. I could have that turn, but wanted to Acid-Moss. And our opponent tapped out again, so we can Reclamation Sage on this, and he or she won't be able to sack it to search for an Eldrazi, if they do indeed have those in their deck. Alright, so let's Reclamation Sage, and we will get the From Beyond. Just don't want to let it sit out there for too long if we can help it. Drop a Rakdos Guildgate. And I'm going to get just past the turn. I have a pretty good defense set up here. No use wasting a Reave Soul or a Rolling Thunder to remove something that isn't really a threat at the moment, especially with us sitting at 25 life. So we haven't totally stunted our opponent's mana. They continue to make land drops. Yeah, I'll go ahead and block this. If they've got a trick, they've got a trick. That's fine. Yeah, I expected a Wild Size or Titanic Growth, something to that effect. And that draws them a card as well. It's killing my Jaddi Offshoot. Alright, we'll land drop here. Now, we could do up to 7 damage. We could wipe our opponent's board. It may not be a bad idea. I will swing first and see what my opponent chooses to do. Okay, so that's 2 damage that we can now send at the opponent's face. Also, I didn't want him to kill this before I tried to attack with the damage from Perilous Mirror. So we will Rolling Thunder for the full 7. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I fully expect this guy to die. Yep, there it goes. Alright, let's hope we can top deck something that isn't land. And at this point isn't mana ramp either. So our opponent has nothing. And we have Gaia's Revenge, so that's pretty good for us and pretty bad for them. Continue, let's begin the face bashery. If they don't get something out to block and or deal with this fairly quickly, the game's going to be over pretty fast. Which is another plus for the Gaia's Revenge as a kill condition. Ah, Gaia's Revenge of their own. I do expect them to hold it back to block. What I would like to see is my second Revenge, but no such luck. And I'm not going to swing in and lose my Revenge. I'm just going to hang back for the moment, and I'm not going to drop the Locus either. I want to drop it when I have a land in hand or a fetch spell ready to activate his landfall ability there. Don't want to have him just die with no effect. Okay. So our opponent continues to try to ramp themselves. And at this point, it's kind of a matter of who gets to something that's relevant first. And I'm not going to block that right now. Okay, that's fine. I've got enough life to soak that up. And I would have just gotten my Gatecreeper Vine killed and had 8 damage trample over if I'd blocked. And our opponent should have enough land to cast Ulamog next turn if they have it in hand, which would be pretty bad for us unless we drew our own Ulamog afterwards. What I am going to do is cast Omnath, then land drop, and Reave Soul this Gatecreeper Vine. And then I'll swing with Gaea's Revenge, unmolested. It still is, even though our opponent is on 2, well, never mind, they think they're dead. I was going to say, even though they're on 2 life, it could still be fairly precarious, just depending on what they have in hand, but apparently they don't have anything they feel is, able to get them out of this situation. So, Woodland Bellower on the stack. Wild Size Gaea's Revenge. And if they attack with that Gaea's Revenge, I'm going to block with an elemental and just kill them during their own turn. With Omnath's ability to deal 3 damage there. But that didn't happen. So that should be game. Unless they're holding a fog. If they're holding a fog, then this continues. But it appears they are not holding a fog, and so we move on to the next challenge. Alright, here we are for match number 2. And I think this is a keepable hand. I would like to have a Gatecreeper Vine, but I mean, you can't have everything you want every time, and this seems okay for the moment. Would also like to be on the play, but we don't have that luxury either. It's like our opponent is playing a 61 card deck. It's not so bad, I suppose. And I'm going to go for a forest. Just to make sure we're able to cast this Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. Though I suppose we can get forest with Nissa's Pilgrimage. I probably should have gotten a mountain or a swamp in that case. Probably the swamp because I can get a Cinder Glade off of Acid-Moss. Should have took just a second or two more to think that through a little bit better. Should be okay though. Go ahead and drop a mountain. And not really certain what our opponent is doing yet. We've got 2 plains on the battlefield for them, which would generally signal white weenie of some sort. There's black, so they could be playing allies maybe. I've seen quite a few of those. Black-white allies with life gain synergy. No, looks like they're playing black-white auras with blessed spirits there and its enchantment synergy. Maybe a slightly controlling build of it with Sigil of the Empty Throne or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and Nissa's Pilgrimage. I'm not going to worry about dropping the Jaddi Offshoot at this point. Though I could have dropped it and then Reave Soul the Blessed Spirits. Hopefully that won't come back to bite me. If they cast an enchantment on it, then I probably can't Reave Soul it. Alright, so our opponent is now up to 4 mana. They're dropping another enchantment-centric card there. And Blood Cursed Knight. I don't think they can cast a relevant enchantment with 1 mana, so we're lucky in that regard. And as much as I would like to Acid-Moss right here, I think I really need to Reave Soul one of these creatures, and it's probably going to be the Knight. Now let's go ahead and drop a Jaddi Offshoot. Then since I'm not going to be casting a 4-mana spell, I'm going to go ahead and Evolving Wilds for a black source, because we're going to get a red source off the Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. Confirm. And before he can pump this creature up with enchantments, we are going to Reave Soul it and get that threat off the board. We're still in okay shape at the moment. So our opponent's up to 5. They could drop something like a Knightly Valor, and there it is. That's pretty bad. That's a lot of damage pretty quickly. At least our offshoot can drop the Knight token that this thing spawns. Though 5 damage a turn is a pretty quick clock, and it will be more if they manage to cast more enchantments. Whether they're on the Blessed Spirits or not, it gets pumped up from each enchantment that is cast. Alright, so our Jaddi Offshoot is helping us. Let's Acid-Moss one of their Duels. Gain another life. Make sure I can get a Cinder Glade there. And next turn, we can drop Gaea's Revenge, barring drawing anything else that's more relevant. Don't really know that there is anything more relevant. Maybe a Rolling Thunder to remove that big flyer there. Tainted Remedy. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses. Oh, that's really bad for us with our wonderful little Jaddi Offshoot here. So each land instead is going to have us lose a life instead of gaining a life now. And this Blessed Spirit's up to a 6/6 because of the enchantment. Radiant Flames. That's almost worth casting on the merits of it killing the Knight and my offshoot to where the offshoot doesn't hurt me anymore. I'm going to drop a Gaea's Revenge though. And maybe we'll get super lucky and our opponent will block with this Blessed Spirits. We'll see what... They opt not to do that. And I don't think... Do I want to drop a land? I suppose I do. Suppose I want to go ahead and drop a land. Lose a life. And go to 10. So we are 4 damage from lethal at present time. If they can remove our Jaddi Offshoot as a blocker, then we're 2 damage from lethal. Though my opponent will be staring down double Gaea's Revenge next turn. Don't know if that's going to actually do anything, because all they have to do is stay alive and then swing at me with this big flyer for the win. It's very touch and go here. Don't actually know what I want to draw, and it looks like our opponent is Abzan, actually. So there's a bunch of blockers, and this guy's lifelink now. So that's not good. If I could Radiant Flames and Gaea's Revenge in the same turn, we still wouldn't be able to get there. I can Radiant Flames, but I mean, it's not going to get us where we need to be. I'll do it in any event. Yeah, do it for 3, please. Thank you. And this is going to be a loss, because we just can't get there. Our opponent will untap and swing for lethal. No use to cast Pilgrimage. It's not going to do us any good at this point. We are dead. And so we go on to match number 3. Okay, here we are with match number 3, and I'm actually really happy with this hand. Got threats, I've got ramp. Should be pretty good, and it looks like our opponent may be mulliganing into Oblivion, not to mention having a 70+ card deck. So there's that in our favor, and our opponent says bye-bye. Yeah, this should be quick. If we lose against a 75 card deck when our opponent mulligan to 2, I'm going to be very sad. Go ahead and Gatecreeper Vine. Probably just get a green mana, a forest. And then we can start chaining off natural connections. Kind of sad to be playing versus the AI, but what can you do? Don't really blame our opponent for leaving. What I blame is the developers who don't put it in that if your opponent concedes, you just get the win, and they make you play it out versus the AI. That's no fun. Get a mountain. We already have our second black source in our hand. And there's our first land drop from our now AI opponent. But yeah, you don't want to be playing a 75 card deck, friends. That is just asking for problems with the randomization and whatnot. It's hard enough to get the balance right and get good draws with a 60 card deck. The more cards you add in above 60, you get that much more randomness in your draws, and you sacrifice a whole lot of consistency. Alright, so I just want this to be over. I could drop Nissa and Flipper. I think I'm just going to play... yeah, I don't have enough mana for that. I'm going to play Woodland Bellower. Get a clock out on the board. Yes, I want to use that. And I suppose I will get a Gatecreeper Vine. And get a land off of it. Get the Guildgate. Drop it. Then next turn we can also play Omnath and activate the landfall. And there's pretty much no way that our opponent can get out of this at this point. We'll just go ahead and play Omnath. Drop a land, and it's going to be game over next turn. Unless our opponent drops a forest and then starts playing fog after fog after fog. Just delaying the inevitable. Okay, that's not a green source, so we do not have to worry about fog, and darkness is not a thing in this game, so darkness is a black fog. So there we go. Let's go and get a bit more competitive match for our final match, please. Okay, this hand is unkeepable. That is a bit better, I suppose. Keep. Yeah, I know. Hopefully, we will have some better luck here. I've been having some issues with connections and the Duels server going offline for a while now, so hopefully we can get this last match in. Been trying to for quite a while. Alright, so I've got infinite threats in hand, but very little ramp, so I'm not super thrilled about that. Would love to top deck a Pilgrimage or an Acid-Moss next turn, to where the turn after I can go ahead and do that. Well, I could Pilgrimage on the next turn, but it looks like we're not going to have that luxury. So I'll go ahead and Natural Connection for another green, just in case we get an Acid-Moss. We want to be able to cast it. Looks like our opponent is Control Esper. Could have a fourth or even fifth color there, though. Alright, so we do continue to draw lands. I'm going to hold on to this Reclamation Sage in case our opponent wants to drop something like a Sphinx's Revelation or Shadows of the Past. Any of the annoying enchantments that Duels Origins is known for in its meta. And now we miss a land drop. Right before we could start playing actual threats. That's not good. We are, however, it looks like going to find out if our opponent is running another color here when they sack this Evolving Wilds. So it looks like no. And I'm guessing white and blue are splashes then, and it's base black since they got a third black when they already had two. Though we do see double blue here now. So very likely that there is counter magic in the mix. I can't just sit back forever though. I fully expect that this Woodland Bellower will get countered. No, wow. Yes, please. And I want a Gatecreeper Vine to get my 7th mana for all my 7 mana threats. Give me a mountain. Thank you very much. Cruel Revival. So bye-bye Woodland Bellower. So that makes more sense then about not countering. Though not going to be fun for them to be dealing with double Gaea's Revenge. Just drop a Cinder Glade. And Rumble in the Jungle. Here comes Gaea. Going ahead and fetching. They have to remove this for this Gatecreeper Vine before a Flesh Bag will be able to kill Gaea's Revenge. So they're doing that. So we're looking at getting Flesh Bagged then. If they had a second white, I would be worried about maybe Plainier Outburst. Or even Tragic Arrogance. If they had left the Gatecreeper Vine in play. So, are they looking for a Flesh Bag? They also need a land drop to cast it. No, they have a blocker though. So, here's the question. Do we play into Plainier Outburst by casting a second Gaea's Revenge? I guess we get the damage in there and then our Omnath will be able to finish out the job theoretically. But now at this point they absolutely have to have a Plainier Outburst to live through next turn. Because Tragic Arrogance won't do it. We would still have a Gaea's Revenge left. Although they could Tragic Arrogance plus Flesh Bag, though I don't think... You know, they would have enough land if they make a land drop here. They would have enough mana to do that. Double Languish? That'll work too, I suppose. Yep, Double Languish. That's one way to deal with the double Gaea's Revenge. Though now you have to also deal with Omnath. He's angry. Plus 2 activations. 2 activations. Thank you. Get a black. And things look pretty good for us. have any answers. I can't think of any off the top of my head. And yeah. There's Jace. Hello, Jace. You're late to the party. And so, that's the power of Gaea's Revenge. And that will be it for this episode of Friday Night Magic. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like below. It really does help. Consider subscribing to the channel to be notified whenever I upload content. And until next time, be excellent to each other.